So I'm delighted to welcome Eileen O'Brien, who's a famous Irish fiddle player and from a very interesting and famous pedigree. So welcome, Eileen. Thanks for coming in today. So just to start off, again, I suppose we like to start from the beginning, and you come from a great musical heritage, both from your father and your mother's side. So if we talk about your dad first, Paddy, who was a famous accordion player.
Yeah, accordion player and composer.
Yes.
And on the O'Brien side, well, Daddy got his music from his father, Dinny O'Brien. Dinny played concertina and fiddle, and he used to lead a Ceili Band. It was called the Bridge Ceili Band, not to be confused with the band from Offaly called the Bridge Ceili Band. And there was a great nest of music around the area at home. Milltown is the village outside Nina, in Tipperary. Yeah. It's Milltown. It's about 7 miles from Nina, and Milltown, and the next village is Portroe. So there's a great nest of music around that area. And Dinny's brothers, Mick and Pat O'Brien, they all played fiddle and concertina. They were the instruments in the house. And they got their music then from Pat O'Brien, who was Daddy's grandfather. He played concertina. And so they that's where the music was passed down to them. Dad started on the fiddle first, because that was what it was natural to play in the house. And then you've heard of the fiddle player Paddy Queally from Aughrim in County Galway. His brother came to work. He was a policeman, and he was stationed in Portroe, and he had the first accordion that was ever seen around the area, because they were very scarce.
Sure.
They were a new instrument. Daddy was born in 1922, so Daddy would have been about maybe 9 or 10 years of age.
This would be the 30s. So.
Yeah. And he used to leave his accordion, because Daddy's home was a kind of an open house for music, and a gathering place for music. They used to have house get-togethers and house dances and whatever. Right. Everyone used to go to the Bridge, was the name of the house.
Okay.
And Paddy Kelly's brother used to leave his accordion there, because there's a big hill from Newtown to Portroe. It's all hills, and it was all bicycles that time.
Yes.
So it was easier to leave the accordion at the bridge
than bring it up in the
bring it up in the back of the bike up to Portroe. So Daddy started messing around with the accordion, experimenting himself as a child, an inquisitive child. So that's how he started playing the accordion.
So he got hooked then, was it? Yeah.
He got hooked, and then I suppose he was experimenting with all the different types of tunings. It was only new into Irish music at that time, and they were coming in from Europe, all different accordions from Horner, and the Italian ones then from Palo Soprani.
Right.
And they would come in all different keys. They could be in G sharp, they could be in D sharp, they could be in C sharp, D. And he was experimenting, trying to figure out which ones would be able to play in concert pitch that he could join in with his father and the concertina and his uncles, and so that's how he discovered that the BC tuning, and he kind of figured out his own way of the way of fingering and all that, but he'd be in concert pitch.
So he had to kind of do a lot of the work on his own, as opposed to.
Oh, he did, yeah.
There was no mentor there to hold his
hand.
No.
He
got the right
but
accordion.
he was a fiddle player. Daddy always played the fiddle.
Yeah.
Even up to before he died, before he got sick, he played the fiddle. He actually, when he taught music, and when he taught music, he taught with the fiddle.
All right.
He didn't teach with the accordion at all. He played the fiddle in his classes. Yeah. I discovered that speaking to his, former students.
Yeah.
He used the fiddle, to demonstrate.
To demonstrate the tunes.
Yeah, because what he really did, I suppose, was he tried to do the fiddle music and the accordion. The rolls and the cuts and all that. Tunes. Yeah.
And obviously he was a Tipperary man, and he spent a lot with himself. And your mother spent time in New York as well, didn't she?
They did, yeah. Dad immigrated in January '53. My mother then, the Seery side of the family, Dad had gone up, he'd been invited up to play at the Piper's Club. My grandfather, Jim Seery, was involved in the Piper's Club. And my uncle, Sean Seery, who was a piper, he was a student of Leo Rawson's. And Daddy was invited up to play at the Piper's Club, and he was staying at my mother's home in Stony Batter, 30 Stony Batter.
Yeah.
And that's where they met.
Okay.
That's where they met.
So that's where love stories begin.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, because the series were big names with Leo and the other Paddy Mac Mathúna setting up the Pipers Club in Dublin in Thomas Street.
Yeah, that's
which
right.
was a mecca. So that's
my grandfather used to be on the door.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jim was a great fiddle player too. He was a lovely fiddle player, Jim Seery, my grandfather, And then Sean then of course was a student of Leo Rowson's and he was in the Rowson Quartet.
That's right.
And with Willie Clancy was in it as well. They were great. Right. Willie Clancy used to be up at their house as well. Like he used to stay with them as well.
Right.
And I was very lucky, to meet all those great musicians and people involved in music when I was growing up.
So you had music coming from both sides, which is great. From Dublin and home.
Yeah. And then on Daddy's mother's side, the Ryans. Daddy's mother, her name was Ellen Ryan, and she, Sean Ryan, the fiddle player and composer.
Right.
Yeah, he was Daddy's first cousin.
Oh, right, okay.
His mother was her aunt, his aunt. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So obviously the environment was there for you to pick up the fiddle and start going. And
I didn't pick it up. I didn't play at all when I was a youngster. Like we moved back from America to Dublin, and then back down to Newtown to Tipperary.
How many in your family, by the way?
Two.
Yeah.
Two. My brother Donegan and myself, and then I was about 7 or that. I got very sick with measles, and I was kept in a darkened room and all this. I was seemingly very ill.
Yeah.
And there was no Xboxes or televisions even or nothing like that. So my father bought me the blue flageolets with the red top.
I remember them.
He bought me a flageolet, and to amuse myself.
Yeah.
So I was playing it in bed, playing the flageolet.
Pass the time.
And I put together a few tunes that I'd have them in my head, I suppose I knew them all because you see, Daddy, when he was in Dublin, he played with the Ceili Band, and I remember they used to play O'Brien of Ara, the march. Dum down 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 dum dum. It's in O'Neill's. And and then the King of the Fairies.
Right.
So I learned those two tunes, taught myself those two tunes, and that was it.
When
I got better then, that was it.
Yeah.
So then when I was about 11 and a half, Daddy just said, it's time you played something. So I was told I was playing the fiddle, because he didn't want me to play anything else. He loved the fiddle.
Yeah.
He thought the fiddle was the best instrument of them all. Apologies to the pipers, but
Sure.
And anyway, so I ended up playing the fiddle. I was sent, now at that time then...
were you still in Dublin at that stage?
No.
You had come back down home?
We came down to Nina, we were in Nina. We were living in Newtown, And Daddy sent me for... Daddy and Mum wanted me to have full musical education, so they sent me for classical training, so I had the theory and all that. Well, you see, Uncle Sean, it was the School of Music in Dublin. My mother she was a singer, and she went to the School of Music in Dublin as well. And Sean then attended Leo's classes in the School of Music.
That was in Chatham Street, was it?
Yeah, they all knew how to read music and all that. Yeah. So Daddy knew how to read music as well, so they wanted me to have that. So I was sent for classical lessons, and I was kind of on both sides.
You got the theory, but you were learning tunes at the same time.
Oh yeah, I was playing away, and the classical teachers used to be going mad. And then on the other side, because I held the fiddle up under my chin and whatever, and she's classically trained, on the Irish side, she's classically trained.
Putting you down with it.
So you were in the middle, but I never had a problem with it.
Yeah.
Never had a problem with both.
No, but a lot of Sean Keane spoke about that.
Sean did as well.
Back in the country, you have both camps.
Yeah, both camps.
And reading.
Yeah, and it has proved to be very, very useful to me, for...
So obviously in your teenage years then you were off and playing and you were in the Ceili Band yourself, weren't you?
I was in the Ceili Band. Daddy
your dad,
had the Ormond Ceili Band. He formed that mostly out of students from his classes.
Yeah.
And a few, Dan Larkin, who had the pub in Gary Kennedy.
Yeah.
And we used to rehearse down there. and
Lovely spot,
yeah,
yeah.
and Liam O'Connor.
Yes.
Liam was in it. Jerry O'Connor's dad, Jerry
Yeah,
Benja's
Jerry,
dad.
yeah, Donald's brother.
Yeah, Donald's brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we played that, and we won 3 All Irelands in a row anyway, and then you couldn't go in the following year, so we had to stay out, and then we went back and we won a 4th one.
Yeah, just
But then that was it.
to
That
pass
was
it
it.
around.
We disbanded after that.
Yeah, you'd made your mark. But and again, obviously the Flas, you know, before this week and that, the Flas
Yeah.
were the major
Flas were the
focus.
major focus.
The All
yeah.
Ireland and whatever
Yeah,
the Munster
yeah,
and again, I'd say you have good memories of those.
I have, yeah, great times, yeah.
Apart from competitions. You know.
I didn't really enter underage
Yeah.
competitions. I just
Yeah.
went in senior. You know, didn't really. I think I entered once in the underage, and I think the Fla was kind of cancelled. It was a bloody Sunday, you know, that year.
72.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I entered underage that year.
Right. Yeah.
And because I think the county Fla was in Nina or somewhere. It was,
Right.
it was local at
close by,
home.
yeah.
And then we didn't go. Daddy wouldn't go to it. The All Ireland was held, I think, in Dublin in some one under one roof.
Yeah.
And
It wasn't proper really.
no,
compared to the
Daddy
usual
wouldn't
Fla.
go. He didn't feel it was proper to go to it,
Yeah,
so we didn't go.
proper.
Yeah.
So before we go on and talk about everything else, I think maybe a tune.
Okay.
And you were thinking of combining the blackbird there and
Yeah.
set-ons, which was a lovely combination.
Yeah, well, it is. Well, Daddy. I got this from Daddy, like
Yeah.
you know. I think Andy McGann used to play it, and Daddy, of course, Daddy when he lived in New
In
York.
New York, yeah.
He was friends with all the New York musicians,
Yeah.
and I think Andy used to play it as well. So yeah, okay. Okay, we'll try that.
lovely.
Okay.
It's a lovely combination.
It's lovely, yeah. It is, yeah. Well, it's the air is
the air,
derived from the set dance.
And
yeah.
the set dance. So
I think that's one of the oldest
I'd say
pieces of Irish music. I think it is anyway.
No, it's a lovely piece.
Yeah. The dance is very old anyway.
Yeah. And so in the Flas again, it was for lots of people, it was an opportunity to meet people from all over.
It was, yeah.
And that's where you made connection, new friends.
I did.
And
all the Dublin crowd.
All the
Pipers Club crowd.
The Pipers Club, yeah. Thomas Street, they were all.
I made friends with Gail McKeown now and Mary Corcoran.
Yes.
We were only teenagers, you know.
That's right, yeah.
Sean Montgomery, you know, all that guy. Mairead Nivuenig and Frankie Kennedy, God be good to him. You know, we were all around the one vintage.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and got to meet people from all over Ireland, like, you know, musicians. I always like to go meet different musicians, and I was, you know, I'd be learning new repertoire.
Yeah.
I wouldn't stay with, I'd have to be wandering around.
Yeah, and pick up new
I was
tunes.
learning, and I was learning as a fiddle player too, watching the older fiddle players. I would sit down and watch, I wouldn't play at all.
Yeah.
I'd love to sit down and watch and listen.
See what they're doing, I suppose.
See what they're doing and how they're doing it.
I suppose in Dublin you had the likes of John Kelly and Tommy Potts and all those guys.
Yeah.
And then you had Johnny
I never
Gall.
had the pleasure of meeting Tommy Potts now. But I remember John Kelly because my grandfather and I was in the shop.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Jim Seery would have known John so well in Capel Street.
Yeah, in Capel Street.
And again, it was a smaller world in those days.
Actually, my grandmother fed half of them, you know. Everyone that came to Dublin was fed above, and poor grandmother, Julia.
Yeah, she kept them under,
she kept them
straight
going,
and narrow.
Yeah, she was great.
So, you got to make good friends with lots of people, and I know we can't let the opportunity go by without mentioning Joe Burke and Anne.
Oh, yeah.
And Joe, God be good to him, we're great pals of yours.
Yeah, great pals of mine, but great friends of Daddy's.
Yes.
Daddy and Joe were great friends.
Yes.
And Joe, of course, he was the next generation of accordion players after Daddy, and he kind of, you know, Joe went as a professional.
Yeah.
Like my father was never, he never saw music as being something you made money from.
For a living, yeah.
He couldn't. He played it from his heart. He didn't have a value, a monetary value.
No,
he didn't, because he could have done that, and he couldn't see the point in it. You know, he couldn't.
But your father, the reputation was that he blazed a trail in the 50s.
Yes.
And then and Joe then was
carrying it on
and made it more popular in the 60s.
Yeah, because Joe was making records and you know, and he toured and you know, which was great.
Yeah.
You know, he went on to he started a whole new thing.
That's right.
And you know, and then Joe and Daddy were great friends, and they toured as well with Comhaltas
in America.
In America, they did the very first Comhaltas tour.
Right.
I think they did it, and actually they were always friends. Your Daddy was always very fond of Joe, like, and you know, Joe was lovely. She couldn't but like Joe.
No,
he was great company. Great company.
Fantastic company.
And then Anne and I, we got on very well. First met Anne when she was only a teenager as well, you know. No, it was just, we always were great friends. And then we used to come down here to the Willie Clancy together, and we'd share the house. Yeah. And we'd have great crack. Yeah. And we did that right up to when Joe wasn't able to travel anymore.
Yeah.
And now she's staying with me.
Great.
This week, yeah. She's staying with me, which is
great. Friendship, yeah.
That's what we have, and I go up and down to Anne, you know, a lot. We meet a lot, and we're on the phone nearly every day. And, you know, I'm glad.
How's she doing?
She's doing great, yeah. She's teaching this year. She didn't teach that last year now. She didn't, you know, she didn't
because I've seen your name on various gigs around the place.
Oh, yeah, we're doing a few little gigs, yeah. We have a group.
Yeah.
We have, just as after Joe died, a good while Anne wasn't playing, and you know, she was in mourning. Sure. You know, she was in grief and exhausted too, because she nursed Joe for a long time. And then Andy Martin in London asked Anne if we'd do a concert in memory of Joe in London, because Joe did an awful lot of playing in London and was very popular over there. So Anne got Deirdre McSherry, piano player and flute player. Deirdre was always in our gang as well. Sure. And she used to be with us as well here at Willie Clancy. And so Anne got her sister Mary, Deirdre and Misha
Yeah.
And we went over to London and we did the concert.
And took them by storm.
And it was great crack. It was lovely. It was lovely. It was lovely. Well, it helped Anne, I think, to start the process, like, you know.
Yeah.
And we've done a few then since. We've done a few. We've great crack, sure.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I've seen them, so it's like you said.
Crack. We've great banter on stage and everything. You know, we've great banter. So we all know each other so well.
You're kind of pals.
Yeah. We enjoy it.
And again, does anyone who gets a word in between the four of you?
Very few.
And then you've spent, obviously you're Tipperary based, but you've spent a lot of time in the last few years here in Milltown, and you have a house out the road, don't you?
Yeah. What happened was, I always loved Milltown. I'd come over and back. Since I was a child. And my son Dennis, God be good to him, passed away.
Yeah.
He'll be 9 years gone this September.
Right.
This year he'll be 9 years dead.
Yeah.
And God, it was an awful, you know.
It was a huge trauma for you.
A huge trauma because he'd been ill for 2 years. So after Dennis died, just one day, I get the paper every day, and on the Property Independent, there was houses for sale down in Miltown.
Yeah.
I said,
so you say
this is
a rush of blood to the head.
just because I never even looked at the Property Independent.
Sure,
just I think it was just meant to happen.
Yes.
So we came down and we bought the house.
Yeah.
And sure, it's a great escape and
respite. You're only 5 minutes walk down the road.
A few minutes walk down the road.
Yeah.
And I come over here most weekends.
Yeah.
And I play in Friels with Jackie Daly, Monsieur Daly.
Yes.
Yes, the C sharp D, and he tells me I have a BC fiddle.
Yeah,
you know, and we have great discussions about C sharp D and BC and all that, and great slagging.
Yeah.
And now I have him really on a road to discovery. He's now learning Paddy O'Brien composition.
Oh, is he? Oh, wow.
He's absolutely.
I was going to say, for a Cork man, like, he's suddenly kind of saying.
And he said, but he said he discovered the only way to play Paddy O'Brien's compositions, the BC compositions he calls them, which they're not. They're for any
but just transpose.
He says it's to play them on a C sharp D accordion.
So he won't give in. He won't give an inch.
No, he won't give an inch.
But it's great because your father's tunes have, they're a great style and very fine. A lot of people think of your father's compositions and Paddy Fahey's compositions in terms of fiddle and box.
Absolutely,
they're not obviously different styles, but
totally different.
They're very unique tunes, but they're still played out there, which is great.
Yeah, well, Daddy's tunes too. He composed a lot too. He was very aware of the limitations of different instruments. Like he composed some specialist tunes, say for, like in the key of C and the key of F and B flat. That kind of pieces that you play to show off, like
solo pieces.
Pieces. Yeah. But most of the compositions were for ensemble playing.
Yes.
And he was very aware. He would never, even when he was, especially he composed an awful lot for the band when we had the band.
Yes.
And he'd make sure that he didn't go below D, so as not to compromise the flute players or the pipes.
Yes.
Because he had a great understanding of music, so that's why his tunes are playable. They can be played on any instrument.
Yeah, that's great.
They're not limited, like. I know, and I think a lot of people pick them up, and they're very melodic.
Yeah,
they're
great melodies.
There's great melodies, like.
And you'd often hear, whatever names are Paddy O'Brien's, whatever.
Yeah.
Did he put many actual names on them?
Oh, he did.
I mean, he puts.
Yeah.
Because.
People say Paddy O'Brien's, they'd be ringing me up.
I was going to say that Paddy O'Brien's doesn't narrow it down.
Yeah, after he died, then you see the stuff was scattered all over the place. Like, he used to he'd write it out in a piece of he'd have these little pieces of manuscript. He was very neat writer, at writing, and he'd be able to get the 8 bars on one line and the 8 bars on the other line. He wouldn't waste any paper.
Right.
And he'd get this piece of paper and he'd give them out then to the band, to learn. Or give them out he gave them away, like,
Yeah.
So I had a lot of job, making sure I got everything gathered up, and but anyway, and then I said they needed to be published, so
because that CD that you got out last year,
I saw them, but I did the book. The last book I did now. I put all his compositions in it. Plus, I did 3 CDs with me playing the tunes slowly.
Yes.
For people,
so people can learn them.
Learn them. People who aren't really into reading music, but at least you know, even if they're listening to them, they can follow the music,
They can
you know,
follow the
and
tune.
it's easier for them to learn them, like, you know.
So that was a lovely CD, again, you know, of all your dad's stuff, and then with the other CD reissued with himself and Seamus Connolly.
Oh yeah.
From way back, and that was a lovely.
Last year, we did the he would have been 100. You see, he was born in 1922.
Yeah.
So so that's why I said I wanted to do something special for his 100th birthday.
Yeah.
So I got onto Comhaltas, bought the banks. Daddy has, as you know, recorded the banks of the Shannon EP. There's only a few tracks on it, and that was Comhaltas Ceoltoiri Eireann in 1973, I think.
Yeah.
And it was sold out very quickly, and that was it. So I got on to Comhaltas. I got on to Ross or Maracoo, and he was great. He was very, very, very up for it, and thought it was a great idea. So he gave me permission to get it remastered and reproduce it and get it all done.
Is it Charlie playing on it with them?
Charlie Lennon and Dad and Seamus Connolly, the great fiddle player Seamus Connolly. I mean, look, I was listening to him. I was
going to say, he would have been a neighbour of yours.
Every week. Every week. They used to meet every week, particularly when they were rehearsing for the banks of the Shannon.
Yeah.
We used to go into Seamus's house every week. I'd be going to the School of Music in Limerick, and Daddy would go out to Seamus.
You called into Calloo then?
Yeah. No, Seamus was living in Limerick at the time.
Oh, was he? All right.
Yeah, he was married and living in Limerick at the time, yeah.
But I was over visiting him.
I was always very lucky.
I was with him recently, and he was, you know, having fond memories of playing with Paddy, and I know the two of you keep in contact.
Yeah, we do,
Seamus, which is great.
Yeah, he was ringing me there yesterday. I didn't, so I had to ring. I said, I'm down at the Willie Clancy. Yeah, no, we're in touch all the time.
That's great. Yeah. And again, obviously, there was a Paddy O'Brien festival or weekend that used to be in Nina as well.
Yeah, the local Comhaltas branch wanted to do this. That ran for 10 years.
Yeah, it is,
10 years. You know, it was enough. I just thought it was enough.
Yeah.
After 10 years, because I felt I could be doing more.
Yeah.
Which I have ended up doing, getting his music published.
Sure.
Getting his. You know, the CDs, like the CDs I did last year. There's a lot of work involved in all these things. Yeah. And if you're running a festival, you can't do things like that.
No.
You know, so I kind of said it was a better idea to remember Daddy that way.
No, I think you're right.
Yeah, you know.
So anyway, as you say, you're splitting your time between Tipperary and Miltown, and you're going to be here for the week, and you're going to be busy flat out. It's only Monday.
It's only Monday.
It's a Monday. It's a long week ahead of us.
Yeah.
But listen. You're going to play a couple of tunes to finish us off, but listen, thanks again, Eileen.
Everyone finishes off with reels, but I might finish off with a couple of jigs.
Finish off whatever suits yourself.
You asked me about the names of the tunes, with Daddy's tunes.
Yeah, are you going to play a couple of your dad's?
I'll play a couple of jigs.
And no, that's great because
there's a great name of the first one, The Fly and the Porter.
Yeah.
I think it was Dan Larkin put that name out.
All right, okay.
And then The Burning Brakes.
Great.
And The Burning Brakes comes from when Willie, the accordion player, Daddy was his teacher, and he was driving home from a flagpole, and they were all driving in convoy. We were after being in the band competition, and the brakes of Willie's car went on fire. So
that was
a
good enough reason. So thanks again, Eileen, for coming in.
Thanks, Pádraic.
Great.
Thanks.
Thanks, Eileen.
You're welcome.